Check 1, 2. Oh,
there we are.
Welcome everybody. There we are. There we go. There I am. I look like a snack, by the way, today. I just wanted to point that out, Locke. I don't know if you know this, but I am very, very, very good looking. Lachlan Cross joins us. He's also very good looking. Look at these two good looking older gentlemen. We've cornered the market on middle-aged pimpery on this podcast. Not bad, eh?
I will say this.
Hang on, I got to sell this. You got to see this on YouTube. See these two very good-looking individuals. YouTube, Crier Media, Dean Blundell Show, Crier Media. At it's Dean Blundell. You can check us out. The Crier Media at Lachlan Cross. You want to see how good-looking men age who take care of themselves? This is it. Get a look at that. There you go.
I wouldn't necessarily call you a snack. I think you're doing okay for 50, though.
See, some dude yesterday. No word of a lie. He puts up a tweet. He's like, and I won't tell you what he thought I had rhymes with AIDS. He's like, you look like this. You're the disgusting crypt keeper. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Look at me. I look unbelievable. I do.
There's someone for everyone out there.
Okay, that's it. I appreciate it. Lachlan Cross joins us today. We got a show for you today. We're going to get to some really terrible, politicking or politicking, if you will, as Canada is no different than anywhere else where we're overrun by the biggest idiots in the world who want access to your bank card and taxpayer information. Pierre Poilievre had a bad week. We'll get to some Princess Kate stuff as well. Send you to the weekend with a laugh. But we have a guest today from Edmonton.
Yes.
As you're from Edmonton, you guys have had a relationship for quite some time.
Years.
Yeah. You guys have worked together to make the lives of kids better, to service the community, to do good business together. And he is maybe one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I've met him twice. And he's one of those guys that you meet and you're like, I don't know what it is about that guy, but I trust him with my life, my money, and my wife. Like I would. I don't know. He's just got the face. He's got the attitude. And he's also got 20, 30-year history of being just a lovely individual and a pillar of the community. And he's the owner and new partner of The Locker Room and here at DeanBlundell.com, which was DeanBlundell.com, is now the Dean Blundell Show. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Stacey Dissatel from Ardent Roofing Systems in Edmonton, Alberta, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that guy. Huh?
Do I fit the category as part of your pretty old guy faces?
Yeah, we're very good looking. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh, you got the hair. That's the thing, right? When you get older, you're like, I don't have as much hair to play with. It's a different color. But we put it together. You put it together. You're a good-looking dude, Stace.
We tried.
You kept your hair, Stacey. That's good.
Yeah, thank my dad for that. I got his genes. So
You know what? It actually, I was told you get your mom's dad's hair. So my grandfather was bald as a cucumber by the time he was like 21.
So if that's the case, then I better start finding ways of getting plugs or
Little
something.
Rogaine.
Yeah.
No, don't do the plugs. We talk about it sometimes because we're middle-aged dudes, right? And we'll have other middle-aged dudes on the show, and we'll talk about hair.
I don't get the plugs.
No, and that's one thing I've never understood. Guys who dye their hair get plugs or wear rugs. Like if you get to that point of your life, because everyone knows, dude. Like you walk by, everybody knows. You walk by a guy that's wearing a rug, you're like, you have to stare because it's so weird.
Well, I've told you that story about a guy I used to work with. And I started at this radio station and I went on the air and I started commenting about the fact that this guy, Gary, had a rug. And the boss was standing at the window. This is one of many times that she's like, what are you doing? And then she comes in when the mics are off and she's like, no one talks about his hair piece. And I'm like, we are all talking about it. Everyone talks about it. He's
well,
like,
that's the thing. Everybody does, right? Everybody does. You've all got a friend that has a hair piece or plugs. Everybody has one of those guys in their life. And it's like one of those things where he knows that you know, he knows everybody else knows, but you never say a word. It's this unspoken pain.
And I disagree with that sentiment. I was on the air with him asking if he had, because I knew he had a couple of different rugs. Like he had rugs for swimming.
Like a party rug, he had the swimming rug.
Yeah, he had a golf rug. And he was he was doing a mountain bike bit on the show.
Oh,
and I'm like, do you have a mountain bike? Do you have a mountain bike rug for that? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Rugs for every occasion. Yeah, the mountain bike rug sticks a little tighter, right? The
Yeah.
dinner with a nice lady rug is just kind of just lays there. It might be a little more suave. Yeah, there's all kinds of options, but everybody knows, right? That's really the shame.
So funny.
Anyway, Stacey, great to see you. How do you and Lachlan know each other, first of all? Because everybody knows why Lachlan's here now. Obviously, 5 days a week. He's a massive part of Crier Media, always has been, but now we get his full attention because he's no longer employed. You were a friend of his in a part, good actually in this case. You were a partner of his, but how did you guys meet? And let's just get into it, because you're our new partner at Ardent Roofing Systems. And that relationship is really, really important to you and always has been, right?
Yeah. Well, I got to know him, Lachlan, over the last couple of years, just with his bit of having the locker room on Cruise FM. And that was a pretty important key marketing strategy for me, because the way that Lachlan gets engaged with anyone that he truly believes in, gets to know, becomes friends with, he's a genuine guy. And I'm not saying that I'm not a genuine guy, but he recognizes genuine guys and what I have to offer and who I am and how I want to be in the community. We're like each other. So he's truly engaged in pushing forward something that's means a lot, has a lot of integrity, has a lot of give, if you will. And it just made sense to keep going. And then obviously whenever there wasn't whatever the exit strategy, if you will, was from Cruise FM.
Oh, when he got fired?
Yeah. Well, then it just made sense that, well, he's my guy. I got to follow him. So,
you know, what's interesting about sort of where radio's at right now, and the business is in a bad spot, right? And I'm a casualty of where the business is. And that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. And unfortunately, with where the business is, I think it's not being run by people that care about radio and have faith in that as a medium. So that's where kind of Dean and I sort of differ when we talk about this industry.
I would be what you would call a radicalized former media guy. Lachlan still has some time. He's going to work through it. But to your point, he's right. Radio's a different animal, though, right? It always has been. And you as an advertiser, right? You put your faith in and your money, right? You put your faith and your money in relationships.
Well, for me, it wasn't like I only had the locker room on Cruise. It was just a morning show because it fit my style of marketing as a company, because of how we present as a company, where we offer a lot of things that a lot of other companies can't offer. So when you're talking about upscaled warranties that they're kind of exclusive through the manufacturers, like with Owens Corning and the Platinum, I don't see myself being marketed on the same platform as a lot of the Google ad guys and then having to compete quote to quote against them, because it may not be the client is understanding what we offer compared to those guys. I'm more looking for a referral type program, and having the locker room at the time with the relationship that I had with Lachlan, he's a giant referral train. A lot of people have trust in what he has to say, who he puts himself behind. And if I didn't feel that I could back him up with everything he says I can do, it wouldn't have lasted this long. So to me, that is what my marketing is all about. It's about branding. It's about being a part of the community and what we are and how we present ourselves. Lachlan gets it. So when he was let go, what was left? I'm not taking.
How did you find out? How did you find out, first of all? How did you find out?
Through another mutual associate. And then I finally got the call and played telephone tag with the rep, and then told me what happened. And I'm like, well, where does that leave me? Like, I could get into everything that was discussed, but I'm not. It's just not worth it. It's behind me. I'm not going to just dwell on that. Kind of like the way Lachlan's been. He's just moving forward. But it was, let's just see how the next month goes. I'm like, that's a lot of gamble, because that was a very deep investment, because it's all that I had. And I invested heavy into it because I wanted to make sure that I was capitalizing on every opportunity.
Mm.
So, not to take anything away from Jimmy and Grant, but they're great guys. And as a whole, they were just killer. It was
Mhm.
amazing. And so many people agreed. You take the kingpin out of that trio,
You take any of us
it's
out of
not the same.
that mix, though, Stacey. I mean,
True.
the
But at the end of the
show
day,
is never
Lachlan,
the
it was
same
you
when.
standing on the soapbox speaking everything about Ardent with the support of Jimmy and Grant.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Jimmy was the spearhead behind putting us on his podium, if you will. It was, everything was driven by you. You're the one that had that, if you will, credibility to speak about anyone that you're talking about. And if you're going to get behind me, and I was to just not be that guy that you're talking about, that's not going to last long. And to me, that is where it means so much more of having you a part of the golf tournament, having you part of the free roof giveaway, and you telling the community what we're all about. That, to me, that's just building trust, and it's building a perfect referral train.
Yeah, and you believe. See, and that's the thing, right? I think I love that you're talking about this, because we can sit here and talk about, and we will. We're going to talk about Ardent Roofing Systems. You being a Owens Corning Platinum partner, only one of 5 in Western
We have an
Canada.
announcement on that too, Dean.
Okay, I can't wait for that announcement. I don't even know about it. I love a hot announcement. Give me a hot minute. You are a pillar of the community, and I think it's interesting. You talk about Lachlan is like me. You said that earlier.
Mhm.
Very difficult to find when you're trying to partner with people to represent your brand, right? To
Mhm.
represent what you do and who you are. And you talk about him being a referral train. That's because you guys have similar values, and those
Yeah.
values aren't just about an exchange or a transaction of money, right? Those values are, hey, Lachlan, you came to my business. You spent the day with me learning about me. You come to my golf tournament. You support the same things I support. You have the same virtues. You feel like you should give back. And that is what gets ripped out of media outlets when stuff like this happens to people.
Well,
to the detriment, hang on though, to
yeah,
the detriment of people who are
yeah.
taking their hard-earned money and putting it in the hands of those organizations, and then they make a decision on your behalf with your money, make a decision on his behalf with your brand, right? With
Mhm.
your brand and your money. And then you're the last to know. And listen, it's not a Harvard thing, and it's not a Cruise thing, and I need to say that out loud. It is systemic in that industry,
In the
where they're
business.
gonna
Yeah.
do something, and they're gonna come to a client, and they're gonna say, "Oh, we're still good at this. We want your money." And you're like, "No, you don't." Then you don't understand
Yeah.
what it was that we were doing, and that's the biggest concern. Because what
Mhm.
you were doing is you
Yeah.
were partnering with a person who had a trusted brand and audience, who had the same likability score that you did, who wanted to help people like you did. And there's nothing duplicitous about that. That's authentic.
Yeah.
That gets quotes, that gets people in your door. And
You
so
know
when
what?
a business decides they're smarter than that, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Mhm.
And the sad thing about it is, and Stacey, I think you know this as well. I think there's a lot of people left in the business of radio that realize the importance of the relationships, not just for sales, but for community connection. And I knew that Stacey and I were gonna be a good fit when I got him on the phone, and all he wanted to talk about was his roof giveaway and the golf tournament.
Mhm.
Right. Like I know the business is important to you, Stacey, and I know you're proud of what you guys do and your team and the work that you do, the quality of work that you do. I know that for a fact. But when it came to how he wanted to promote his business, the number one thing was, oh, hey, okay, listen, we got to get people signed up, because I want to raise as much money as I possibly can this year, and for the golf tournament.
Nobody
Right?
thinks like that. No business guy. That's
Yeah.
why I love this guy. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll talk about the business of my business and why I'm here later.
Yeah.
Let's talk about helping kids.
And
right?
you know what? We should do the announcement right now. Grab that trophy beside you, Stacey, and show everybody.
All right.
Let's see this.
By the way, ardentroofsystems.com. You're looking for a quote on EIFS, roofs, whatever it is that you need. That is the man right there. Let's see this trophy.
Siding too.
So I just got back Wednesday night from the Owens Corning conference. They have it once a year, and they had an awards banquet and I was not aware that I was even nominated for this, but ended up taking home the trophy as Canada's top performer MVP. So that was pretty cool.
Oh my God! Look
Yeah.
at that, huh?
Yeah.
Look at you.
That's amazing.
Dude, that is, so you're Canada's #1.
We're the top performer
Trusted.
for the Canadian region for Owens Corning right now.
Okay, so let
that's
me.
what we won this year.
Can I ask you a couple questions? Because that's not a small deal. Because there are only
No.
5 platinum partners that belong to the Owens Corning family. You're one of them, right? In all of Western Canada, 5.
Yeah.
And that's the entire country. You go down to San Francisco, you're on some battleship, they present you this award, you're shocked, you're like, and it's a thing to be a platinum partner for Owens Corning. And what is that? Let's get to the guarantee first of all.
Well, to give you an understanding how big it is across the country, down there in San Diego for the last few days, there was 640 platinum contractors from across North America at that conference. So to win that award for representing our area of North America was pretty a big deal. And when you're in that kind of element, they make sure that the company that's in that program can stand 100% behind what they do, because they will back not only the materials for 50 years non-prorated, but they'll also back the workmanship done by the platinum contractor for 25 years. So that is something that's pretty exclusive, obviously, here at Ardent for the amount of contractors that are in Western Canada that can offer it.
They're pretty picky about who they partner with.
And it is. And it took a lot to get in there. I was in as a preferred contractor for the first 7 years before they saw the potential of me being able to step up as a company and represent on the platinum level. So it's not just something that you can just pick up the phone and say, hey, yeah, can you back me? Oh yeah, sure. Why not? Here, hand them out like, Cracker Jack boxes. It doesn't work like that.
They send people to you, if I'm not mistaken, to Owens Corning does these, like, for platinum partners. They'll be like, we're going to come and inspect your work.
Yeah, they'll do random inspections.
And we're not telling you when it is. And you're like, yeah, go ahead, fill your booth.
And they don't even have to contact me to say. They have all the homeowners' information directly, because I have to register the warranties directly on the owner's behalf. Then Owens Corning sends them the warranty package. So all the information is there. They know who it is. And every time we register a warranty, they also send out a third-party survey from Guild Quality. And they ask the people to fill out the surveys. Tell us what your experience was with working with Ardent. And we're averaging a 4.9% star rating out of 5. And if that was to start to falter and we were to start to get bad reviews and we didn't back up what we say we're going to do, and we start lacking in service, that's another indicator of how quickly Owens Corning can get on you and say, maybe you don't deserve to be in this program. Maybe you're not the type of company that's going to back up what we say you are. So again, it comes right back to working with Lachlan and him saying, well, this is what this guy's made of. Well, if I didn't back it up, Lachlan's not going to back me, because now he's ruining his own credibility by backing someone that he can't trust to speak well of.
And we've all done
there's
that.
a lot
We've
of
all
levels
vouched. Yeah, dude. And we've all vouched for a guy where we're like, yeah, I vouched for this guy. And then they're like, hey, I thought you vouched for this guy. He just stole my dog and my car. And you're like, I don't know. I was just shot in the dark. But to your point, game recognizes game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And being like each other. And he has that altruistic streak, but he also has that excellent streak in him, which is why I love working with the guy. And I'm pumping your tires here for a little bit.
It's getting awkward.
No, I know you're going to have to put up with it. He's really bad at taking compliments. Him and my girlfriend, both the same. Hey, baby, you look great. Anyway, my point is that it is it's incredibly refreshing talking to someone like you, right? That has a thriving business, that has his eyes on what's right, what's proper. And it's not necessarily tangible. Like, it's not about money for you, which is, I find it very interesting, because there's got to be a point of difference, and you've been in the roofing business. You've seen people, get into the roofing business, get out of the roofing business, fly by night. But what is that difference for you? How are you so excellent at this? Is it relationships? Is it honesty? Like, what drives you? Is it virtues, values as a person?
It's values. It's values, and caring about your client with integrity, and having a staff that can be on the same page as you wholeheartedly. So from the start of the phone call to the completion of the project, and then some follow-ups afterwards, I'm more interested in making sure that the client is going to want to just refer us to all their friends and family afterwards.
Yeah.
To me, that's gives them a sense that they trust us. They see the value in what we have to offer.
Mhm.
And when you can be successful on that kind of a platform, it's not about the money talk up front. The money talk should be the last thing that you talk about.
Mm.
And that's the way we kind of present, and that's the way we kind of quote, and that's why we have booking appointments only. We don't just offer free estimates and drop it in the mailbox or throw it to you in an email on a handwritten piece of paper. We don't do that. It's a very extensive quote with lots of information about everything from how to pull a WCB clearance to, what you get from every kind of package that's offered. We just don't offer Owens Corning. We promote it hard because we have something that nobody else has. And if they see the value in that, then great. If they don't feel that they have the affordability for that and they want to go with a bit of a more economical option, we can downgrade to other products and other packages. At the end of the day, we just want to make sure that they see the value in what they're spending. And that type of principle basically will make the company successful. And that's when the money comes.
Mhm.
So I talk money last. I talk integrity, trust, value up front.
That's awesome, dude. It's cool. We don't have these conversations with clients. It's like, and I think this is the new frontier for people like yourself that have thriving
Mhm.
businesses that want to have a personal connection to the people that they do business with, right? And luckily, you're not going to find a better guy than that. I mean, case in
Yeah.
point, right? The golf tournament.
Well, just before we get into the golf tournament,
yeah.
just to come back what we were talking about earlier with the transition between radio and this type of platform. With radio, whenever I was first introduced to it, it was, oh, you can get this many spots, that you can get this many digital blasts, you can get this much in your SEO, and on all these things for the bargain price of $4,500 a month. There's a number for you. Okay, but what are you saying during all of these bits and digital pops and all this stuff that you're telling me that you're going to do for me? But you're not telling me what do you want your message to be. When Lachlan left and we started looking at this platform, we were talking all about what we needed to do, what we needed to say, how we were going to say it, how we were going to pull it all together and make it fit. And then we talked money after. So Lachlan, the way he did this is exactly the same way I do my own business. Show me what you're willing to give. How are we going to pull our creative together? How are we going to scream it for the rooftops? What are we going to say? And now how many times are we going to say it? Do you see value in that? Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And by the way, it was his first business proposal. Sounds like.
Well, and I was just basing it on, I think, how I would want to be approached, right? Like,
Yeah.
right. I would want to know, okay, what exactly are we doing here? Like, and a lot of people don't do business like that, right? So
I think it's the way a lot of people should do business. Figure out how you're going to get your message out and then tell me how many times you're going to say it. Not look at how many times you're going to say this, but you're not saying what I need you to say. So you're going to give me a 15-second bit. It's like what you and I said even before Christmas Lock. How do you say what I offer as a business in a 12-second, 15-second bit? Like a 12-word, 15-second bit.
That's why we did the podcast.
Exactly. So that's why I don't talk about in these type of segments in those little tiny bits that you get whenever you're promoting your company. I'd rather talk about what we're doing in the community. And then if people want to know more, well, go to the website. Now you'll find out more. If you really want to get in deep what we have to offer and you're interested and you got to get the services done. Now there's a conversation. And if we fit the bill for what we have to offer and it fits you, then perfect. Let's get started on this and see what we can put together for you.
ArdentRoofSystems.com for a quote right now.
Yep.
Just to remind everybody, if you want to trust a quote, you want a real professional to come to your door who isn't going to hose you, or when he's done, you're not going to have any leaks and everything's going to look absolutely spectacular and guaranteed. There's the man you can trust. That is Lachlan's roofing guy, right? Like, I mean, we're going to collect all of our guys. Like, I'm going to collect my mechanic. He's going to collect his roofing guy. I'm going to get my dentist. I already talked to my doctor. I'm like, Scotty, you got to be on the platform. I'm going to tell people. He's like, I'm not taking patients, Dean. I'm like, no, but he's like us. Like, these are the guys like us. And that's the whole idea behind these relationships, right?
Yeah.
And what we build here, which is very different. I wonder if it's like, was it a shock to you coming out of traditional media? Because, you know, you're the same vintage as us. There was really only one way of getting your message out as a business. This has turned into a business conversation. Did it shock you when we started to introduce you to how you could target people, how you, like, you know, what you get with a digital platform, the channels that you get, the messaging, how dynamic this could be? Did that part of it shock you? Or were you aware of how dynamic the digital space could be?
I wasn't aware, and that was my first concern, and asking Lachlan, and then even him getting you to, you know, get involved in that conversation. It's like, obviously this platform, you can tap in and see it from anywhere across the country.
Yeah.
And my concern was, if I'm in this platform, somebody in Toronto, somebody in Montreal, they're going to see it. Like, I am absolutely no use to them. I wanted to make sure that it was going to be within the local communal grab. And that was my biggest concern about advertising on this platform, is that how engaged is it to just the local community? Because again, I'm not a .com that you can buy retail online. We have to show up at your home. And, you know, I think Toronto is a bit of a drive. So, but
yeah, but listen, I need a new roof. It is snowing where I live right now. And if you pack up real tight and you start driving, you can be here in 4 days.
Yeah. Long days, because I've driven it. So
yeah,
when
Stacey and I started having that conversation, because I've been on with Dean now for about 3 years, and not as consistently as I have been since being let go, but
he's got more time on his hands, Stacey.
Yeah, a couple of times a week we would sit down, we do a podcast, it would go out, and you know what? I think people started to find me, not just find the locker room, but also find me here, right? And so this audience grew, and I know we've pulled numbers before. Like, Dean's pulled numbers before. Like last year, I remember at one point he sent me like a breakdown of how many podcasts, because I think at one point we were climbing the charts on the Apple charts. And
yeah, you're walking into the number 9 daily podcast in the country. Well, just so you know, Stacey.
But I remember we had a big podcast last year, and we cracked the top 5 or something like that. So you broke out some numbers from across the country, and I remember seeing that. That was it was probably about a year and a half ago. So when Stacey was asking, like, what kind of reach do you have in Edmonton? I know you're doing a podcast with Dean, and he's in Toronto, and and then we broke out the numbers just from like a week of podcasts, Dean and I, every day, consistent. And Dean called me right away, and he goes, I grabbed those numbers. You're not going to believe it. Like 30% of our pull is out of Alberta, and 25% of our full pull is Edmonton. Yeah. And so I feel pretty proud about that I've contributed, I think, that to Crier Media in this space. So,
yeah, big time. And you know what, the thing is that like
I think it's growing.
It is exponentially, you know, and it's about consistency. It's about those relationships, and you point to those things. There's no hack, right? There's no hack in business. You tell the truth, you do a great job. You know, there's no hack in media. You do a great job, you entertain people, and you're consistent with it, and you're accountable with it. You're just a good human being. You're trying to do good things for people that are around you. You're trying to do good things for the people that listen to you, right? Trying to be a solution for their day, which is what you do. You're a solution for people, but you're also a trusted solution for people. So when you put a whole bunch of those different people together, you know, it doesn't matter where you are, you know, you're going to get that lift. So we have 30% of our traffic comes from Alberta, which is hilarious to me. I think it's funny. Lachlan can take all the credit for it if he likes. Doesn't matter to me. But the incredible part about, you know, the difference between traditional and digital media is that we can send this stuff to anybody. Yeah. You know, we can target this stuff, which is really the benefit, I think, for a lot of people, advertisers that want a relationship and want to know that the relationship will be able to give them the solution, which is to be able to narrate for you, which is to be able to acquire users for you in your business, get quotes for you. with people who go, I like Lachlan, I like Stacey, I like Dean, I trust those guys. They say that those relationships, those are good people, right? I can trust that they're going to come back. And it's amazing because we've gone through this chrysalis in media and in advertising too, where it's like, yeah, we'll just pull a couple of levers and you'll get all these commercials and it only costs this much. But you're like, well, what's the end result going to be? Can you guarantee me some kind of end result? And you can't do that with traditional media anymore. You can only track and guarantee results with digital media, right? So this has been a real sea change for a lot of advertisers and yourself. I want to get to the community perspective first, if I can. You
One
talk
more thing. And again, I want to just add this and then we can move on because I really want to talk about the golf tournament and our plans for that, Stacey. But the thing that I've noticed, and this was hard to watch in the last 10, 15 plus years, I've noticed a real disconnect within the industry, within radio, right? Because what happened was they consolidated, they marginalized, people were losing their jobs. There was this fear, this culture of fear in every building I was in. And you did whatever you did based on your personality to protect yourself in that industry. And the way I did was I put a bubble over the show and I treated our little show like my own little radio station. And I tried to keep out everybody else from causing any issues within that little nucleus. Right. And it was successful. We developed a really strong brand here in Edmonton, but the other people in the business were not producing the way they could have because they weren't comfortable. So you were losing creativity, you were losing caring, you were losing that ability to build relationships because you were going into work every day, scared you were going to get fired. And like there was so many days where I would be like listening to the radio station while I'm prepping the next bit and hear a commercial or a splitter or something on the air that had the wrong information, was outdated. Like there was just this, it was hard to watch. And it's one thing that I think that's why I don't think radio's dead. I just think that the people that are running it aren't running it the way it needs to be run. And
imagine if they thought like us.
The gatekeepers don't think they don't care enough about it anymore, and it's being run into the damn ground anyway. It's really hard to watch, and that's not a Harvard thing. That's across the board.
Yeah.
Right? Well, it's too much of the bean counters behind looking at the numbers and not looking at the frontline guys like you, Locker, in that position that you are the one driving ratings. If you're driving the ratings going up, listeners are there, shows the engagement, it might make wanting to advertise on that show more attractive because of the local engagement. When you start getting into a situation like it's just a pre-recorded 3-hour radio bit that there's no interaction, well, then you might as well just listen to Sirius XM radio and pay for it.
And people hear it, Stacey. They hear the disconnect, right? They might not know that the midday show or the evening show or the drive show is, that person isn't even in the town. Like they might not know, but they'll hear the disconnect and they'll feel it and they'll go looking for something else that's real, that's engaged, that's connected. And unfortunately, I feel bad for the people that are like, you go into work and you're hammering out a voice track for 6 different markets or 10 different markets. Like that is not easy. And there are people that are really good at that and they deserve credit and they deserve the money that they're making. Unfortunately for me, radio was always, I'm in that room, the phone's going, the text line's going. We're going to contact, somebody sent me a note on Facebook. We're going to talk about that. The show moves and develops and that's the thing about the podcast with Dean. I was telling you earlier, Stacey, before we jumped on, before Dean, that half the time we get into these conversations and we have a whole plan in front of us and we throw it right out the door because Dean says something and then we just go, right? Like that's, to me, that's the beauty of what it is that we do, that it's, and that's really lacking. And you can feel it coming out of the radio. Dean he'll record on his phone. He'll record bits in Toronto when he's driving around the city. And there's some bad radio in this country right now. I'm sorry.
There's no worse radio in this country than in Toronto, because it's a head office town. So everybody's like running scared from the bosses upstairs listening, going, who are we firing next? And everybody's like, I got another study on coffee. It's apparently good for you. Here's Nirvana.
So he'll literally record and like text me audio of breaks and stuff. And it's just, you can just feel it coming out of the radio. Just that
duplicity, inauthenticness. It's like, and you know what, as an advertiser, because like, really what people don't understand, and I think you do, is as an advertiser, you're attaching your brand, your goodwill, your revenue, your hopes and dreams to that, right? You're attaching it instantly to duplicity when you do business with traditional media now, because specifically radio, because to Lachlan's point, none of it's live. Who's protecting your brand? Who's singing for you? Who's going,
that's the thing. And if all you are is just a pre-recorded bit, and amongst all the other pre-recorded bits, and you as a listener, if you like the music that they're playing, well, then you're going to be listening to the music. Now, all of a sudden, it's just like watching TV. When the commercials come on, what do? You get up and you walk away. You go to the can. You go grab a snap. You do something. Because there's no intent to want to hear what's in between the music, because it isn't a local engagement. There isn't, oh my God, they're going to be talking about this in 15 minutes. I got to deal with what I'm dealing with and get back on. I really want to hear this, because they're going to be engaging you as a listener, and now all of a sudden you're attentive to what they're talking about. And then whenever they do say something as an advertiser about a client, now they're actually engaged in wanting to hear it and trust what they're saying has some value.
It's
not
more than
somebody
that
in a
too,
different
Stacey.
market saying good things about a company. It's in a different market. It doesn't make sense.
No,
it's like you, Dean, saying who I am as a roofing company to all your friends in Toronto. It's great that you're pumping my tires, but it's not going to do anything for my business.
But it's more than that too. Stacey,
I got a big mouth.
Stacey would text me during the show sometimes. About once a month, I get a text from you guys are idiots. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we'd be doing something.
Dude,
you guys
he
are
texted
just
me twice in the show, told me you were an idiot too. It will never stop. Can we please get to the altruism? Can we get to how good of a guy he is? Can we get to the
Let's talk about the golf tournament.
Please, yeah, go ahead.
July 5th. Yeah. And tell us a little bit about the charity of choice. And not only that, Stacey, you've had this tournament now. This will be the 5th year. The
5th year, yeah. We got interrupted by COVID, obviously, because we started this before COVID. But yeah, it's our 5th year, and we're very close to 65, if not just over $65,000 raised throughout all the tournaments and all the fundraising and cash donations outside the tournament. It really did a great job, and I'm looking forward to this year. And the charity is the Child Life Program at the local stollery. And what it's about is, it's not about the medicine or the research that goes into it. Like, there's tons of money that pour into that hospital for medicine and research. But this is mainly for the facility, some of the things like the beach and the outdoor beach and the volunteers and the music program and stuff like that. It's to help the kids mentally and physically feel in a more safe space, in a more of a welcoming environment, rather than being stuck in a hospital bed by themselves and their parents can't be there.
Yeah.
And they're not feeling well. And you lift the kids' spirits, you put a smile on their face, you get them laughing, you get them acting like kids in an environment that they feel like they can be a kid. It just makes the healing process go that much better. And it makes their experience in the hospital so much more enjoyable, considering they're not in there for enjoyment. They're in there because they're not doing well.
You know what I find interesting, Stacey, about that is, and I don't know how long this Child Life Program has been going on, but I find it interesting that if you talk to anybody that has spent any time at the stollery, like yourself as a kid or as an adult with kids, it's interesting that the conversation always sort of gravitates towards the power of making a kid feel like a kid,
Exactly.
and how much of a benefit that has added value to the medicine or whatever it is, whatever treatment that is going on. Like I think that's an interesting sort of change in how we treat illness now, especially with kids, right?
Just from a
Like,
quality of life perspective, you mean? Like being able to make them feel like a child when they're sick? And you would know
Yeah.
about that. We'll get to
Yeah.
that in a second. But yeah, I would agree.
Because again, if they're scared and they're stressed and they don't want to be there and they're not feeling well, guess what creeps in? How they're feeling. And if they're
Yeah.
not feeling good and they're not feeling well, they're not going to want to be there. And then if the doctors want them to get up and move and do stuff to help increase their healing and get their mobility back, depending on whatever it is that they're going through, you might be in there for 3 or 4 days. You could be in there for a month. It just depends on what that particular child is going through at that point in their life. And
So
if they
that
have to be
environment
there,
is
make
huge.
it more pleasurable. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's and that golf tournament that you've done every year, the Ardent Roof Systems golf tournament,
Yeah.
is all for Stollery Children's Hospital and this life experience for kids. Is
Yeah.
can you
The
tell
Stollery
us
Life
about it?
program.
Yeah,
Child
and
life
it
program.
started out as a music therapy program because they were starting, a number of years back of just trying to get volunteers and raise some money for volunteers to come in and help out. They have like even the pets. They have dogs that are trained to be able to come into the rooms. The kids can pet the
Awesome.
dogs and that kind of stuff. Like it's just to take the child's mind off of what they're going through and engage it more into interaction and fun stuff and enlightening them and just it morphed into the child life program that we have there today, and they're doing some amazing things.
Yeah.
Well, you just imagine you're a single parent
Yeah.
and you have to keep working to pay the bills, right? One of your kids gets sick. You got 2, 3, 4, 5 kids. One of them gets sick. You're not going to be able to you're going to have to keep working. You're not going to be able to spend the time like every waking moment with your child. So now your child is by him or herself for long periods of time. And that's why I think this child life program is so integral. And it's cool that you recognize that. Well, I mean, obviously I think you recognize it based on what you went through as a child too, Stacey.
Yeah, what was that? Because you were in if I'm not mistaken, a children's hospital in Ontario for
Yeah, I was in Chio in Ottawa when I was young.
Yeah, what happened?
So I got spinal meningitis 3 times.
Jesus.
Not once?
Yeah, and 2 open brain surgeries to try
Not
to
twice?
make it better. I was in there the first time I was 15. You would think 15.
Yeah.
Okay, but when you went through what I went through and you're waking up and you got tubes out of your head, you were in a coma, you're not sure what's going on. You're still feeling the effects and you wake up, your mom is there, but then all of a sudden your mom has to go back to work. Now you're okay, you're out of the woods, but I was still in there for 2 weeks and mom wasn't there. There was a lot of great volunteers that were there. And then fast forward 8 months later, I got sick again. And that was an argument that I have this again. No, you don't. You don't get it twice. And yeah, finally they did tests and I had it a second time. That's when they decided to really dig in and see what was the cause. And they found some problems upstairs. And I got a scar that goes from temple to temple. And there's these dents in my forehead. And yeah, so the first surgery didn't quite work because I was still growing at 16. And I got sick again at 21. They had to redo the surgery and then yeah, everything has been fine since. So that's why you don't get this no one really gets this more than once unless there's a reason behind it.
So you're sorry, Locke. I just wanted to quickly touch on that one piece there. I don't mean to interrupt. So you've had personal experience with what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of glossed over, there you are as a 16-year-old with tubes coming out of your head. You wake up, your mom's there, and then she's got to go to work.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a very real parallel to the support that you're giving.
And when I was in there, we had the ability to go to different parts of that facility. They had games rooms, they had arcade rooms and that. And then there's other kids there that were on different floors that were younger, but we all eventually made it to the same facility. And you see younger kids and they're just so scared and they're off in the corner. And I befriended a bunch of kids that were in the hospital with me. And if it wasn't for having that environment, having that place to go, and having that little bit of social to just take your mind off of why you're there in the first place, and that your family is not around you and you're kind of by yourself, you befriend others that are kind of going through the same thing as you, and it becomes like a support structure. So if they didn't have that and you were just stuck in your room by yourself all day long, what is that going to do to you? It's not
Yeah.
fun.
It's Locke, Stacey's entire life journey,
Yeah.
right? It all feeds into
Why he gives back.
Yeah, I mean, that is, I talk about it all the time because I'm a big believer in responding well, right? And how your life experience and the biases that we create along with this life journey put us into these positions to be able to do one of two things: quit or rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
And you've risen to the occasion, not just as a business person, but as a human being with your life, Stacey, right? With your life, making kids that went through what you went through, and that incredibly painful and arduous experience just a little bit better. And you've taken everything that you've done, all your hard work, and you've made that your purpose. And I think that
Well, you
that's
have to
cool
take
thing.
everything as a positive. If
Mhm.
you don't, and you don't see the positive side and what you can do to learn from it and help maybe change someone else's life for the positive, that, hey, I got through it. Some of my friends might comment, yeah, you had 2 open brain surgeries. Are you sure you're still fixed up there? Or, so if you can't find something to laugh about a very, very bad experience, then you're never truly going to get past it.
Mm.
So I'm always a believer, just embrace it as best you can and move on, make a positive out of it.
How can people get? Sorry, Locke, go ahead.
I want to say this quickly. Next week or soon, we actually, Stacey, you and I are going down to the Stollery, the Children's Hospital, to check out the development of some of these programs that you've contributed to. That 65K has gone a long way, and they actually called you just before you went down to San Diego, right? And said, "Hey, we want you to come down and see it." So we're gonna have some footage of that, and I'm gonna go down there with you, and we're gonna show people exactly what these programs and what their money from taking part in the golf tournament has actually gone towards. So July
Christy
5th,
is our connect. Yeah, July 5th, and Christy is our connect. So I'm hoping that
from the Stollery,
we can do some video while we're down there. And again, because it's in the hospital, there's lots of little kids that they might not want to take videos of stuff and catch something that maybe they don't want to have as a public broadcast. But I'm hoping they come back and say, if we can send the video to them for approval, do some editing, blur out faces that we might accidentally capture in the background for privacy, then hopefully we can do something like that, and then throw it up on the website and help promote the tournament with it.
Yeah, just to see what the fruit
this
of
is
that
what
labor
it's all
is
about here, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It is all about that. Yeah.
Not only that, so you can sign up yourself as an individual, and you can sign up as a team by going to the webpage, which is ardentroofsystems.com.
Yeah, it's right on the page.
Yeah, Friday. Yeah, there's a register button right on the main page. Yeah. So hit register, sign yourself up. It's probably one of the best tournaments of the year, and it's one of the most fun tournaments of the year. And we're going to be at the ranch again this year. So Murray and the famous steak barbecue at the end of it, and you guys always, you and Corey, I don't know how the hell you guys come up with the whatchamacallit, the prizes for the silent auction are crazy. So we
have a lot of people that get on board and step up and donate things through our supplier network, past clients, a lot of associations throughout the industry and outside the industry. And we're just humbled by the support that we get for this. And the sponsorship deck is up now, and I'm pretty sure that it's linked on there. I haven't checked. And again, I was in San Diego last few days, but if it's not up yet, it's going up. And there's lots of sponsorship opportunities. And Lachlan, why don't you give
it's up plug? It's up there, dude. The sponsorship opportunities right here underneath the register. If you go to ardentroofsystems.com, there is a Golf 2024 button on the right-hand side. You can check out all the details. Ardent Roof Systems proudly raising money for the Stollery Child Life Program. with the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Open registration. Click here to register. Click here to sponsor. And more importantly, if you just want to help out the kids and you believe in this beautiful man on the podcast with us, donate directly there. You can do the same thing. Sorry, you were throwing it to Lachlan as well.
Just to say, Lachlan, talking about the sponsorship deck, when we get to the point where we start getting some sponsors on board, why don't you kick in and say how you wanted to kind of showcase their
well, you and I every year we've sort of found new ways to promote the events and the charities that you're involved in. The golf tournament's one, but also the roof giveaway that's sort of grown as well. And this year, what we're going to do is we're going to go out and do a quick little interview, or feature all the sponsors if they want, and with some with a quick little clip or something like that we'll put out on social media, but also up on the Ardent Roof Systems webpage. So.
All right.
So yeah. So, and again,
do you trust him to do that? Because he has been kicked out of this golf tournament before, Stacey.
No, he hasn't.
Okay. Jimmy.
Jimmy had a nap one year. We made him sleep in a truck in the parking lot just to sleep off the morning.
It happened.
Yeah. He had a great day in that dunk tank.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Now, people get him loaded too. Not only does he spend a lot of time in the water because people hit the mark, but they also feed him booze.
All day long.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a nap before the steak dinner, I think, at one point. But
can you mention the dunk tank feature this year, Locke?
Yeah, it's Jimmy is I don't know, he's gonna be in California at a Backstreet Boys concert. You can't even make this up, or New Kids on the Block or something. One of those. I'm not even kidding. So Jimmy isn't going to be in the dunk tank this year. So I went with I gave Massive Damage from Monster Pro Wrestling a call and said, you need to. So I told Stacey, I said, are you okay with this? Because this is an interesting group of people, right? I don't know if people have been to the Monster Pro Wrestling, but it's a night. It's stepping, like you're stepping back in time. Mm-hmm. Like they live on a different plane of existence than the rest of the world.
Yeah, it's like Stampede Wrestling, only if Stampede Wrestling was a feeder system for Stampede Wrestling. Is what you're saying? Yeah. I get it. But these are wrestling lifers. I've only heard nothing but unbelievable stories about Massive Damage. He's a gamer, game 7er, if you will. He'll be excellent in the dunk tank.
Oh yeah, I thought as soon as we found we were talking about having to replace Jimmy, I was like, we got to get somebody in there that's gonna beak people and like, because that's how you make the money, right? Yeah. And Jimmy's pretty decent at it, and people want to see Jimmy go into the water. But I'm like, who's gonna be good? And I'm like, Massive, we'll get him on there. And not only that, he's bringing the whole crew down. Like he's bringing a bunch of wrestlers down with him. So that hole is going to be hilarious.
It might eat Murray out of steaks at the dinner afterwards.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, they'll be going through the lineup a couple of times.
Hey, listen, we're going to have you back, Stacey, but I want to thank you for having faith in that man over there. You're not going to find a better partner. I also want to thank you for having faith in us. It's one thing to have a great relationship with somebody. It's another thing to be trusted with their business, and for you to trust us with your reputation and your business over the next, I don't know how long, hopefully for a long period of time. It means a lot to us.
This is a trial. This is a trial run. Stacey told me.
Run.
Yeah. This is a trial run, guys.
We'll run this up to the golf tournament, and if it goes off the rails, I'll see you later.
Yeah. Don't, dude. I wouldn't have it any other way. So
this is a great direction that we're taking here, and I'm really looking forward to what we can really do truly with this platform. And again, I feel confident that the local engagement is definitely there. And like I said, Lachlan is a giant referral train and is a good friend, and it's just so easy to work with you guys. And Dean, getting to chat with you the last few times, man, I can see why you two can work so well together. You're a chip off of his block, if you will.
Oh, well, that doesn't make me.
We're a good team. We are.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah,
we are. You know what? It's because we're friends, right? We trust each other. It's different. Like he doesn't want anything from me. I don't want anything from him other than his best. We want the best for you. And that should be the overriding theme in business. It should be the overriding theme in people's lives. Like, how do we how do we create karma around ourselves? It's by making good decisions in the best interest of the people that you like and you care about, you do business with. It's by being trusted and accountable. And a lot of businesses seem to have lost their way. So do people, and we can only control what we control. We're going to do a great job. And I'm really excited to come out to your golf tournament. Really, really excited. I'll be there July 5th. Appreciate your time, brother.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Go sign up for the damn tournament, July 5th, Friday at the ranch.
Yeah, when you get off, we're going to pimp you again for another 10 minutes. So don't worry about it.
Have a great weekend, guys.
You too, buddy. Take care, Stacey. Dissatel, ArdentRoofSystems.com. Get a quote. And listen, and I say this, with all due respect to anybody that does that job in Edmonton, that's your guy. That's your guy.
Yeah.
That's your guy, because you can trust him. You know how important that word is in today's society, in a post-truth world, where everybody's just trying to take, do as little as possible for the most bang for the buck. Not that guy. That is your guy. If you need a roofing system, if you need siding, if you want someone just to come and tell you the truth about what's going on with your roofing system or any work.
Well, and that, unfortunately, in that business, there's a lot of bad actors, right?
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of guys that are just doing it, on the fly, trying to make a couple of bucks. Stacey's not that guy. If you do have a quote sitting in front of you or in your mailbox right now, I would highly recommend you have Stacey and his crew from Ardent come by. You'll thank me later. Get them to have a look. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Locke, time for the Friday version of the Locker Room Retro replay of the day as you reminisce about your time with Grant and Jimmy. You had some great laughs. What do you have for us today? Brought to you by our friends at Ardent Roofing Systems.
So this is a song written for the Locker Room by a local rap artist called Mitch Lawler. And he was on the show. This was quite a few years ago. And we kept this and played it on a fairly regular basis. And today felt like a good day to play the Locker Room rap for you. The Locker Retro Replay.
I just pulled into the locker room, here to keep the flow hotter than the lava, dude. And it's the real me, no imposter, dude. I was talked into this by that Lachlan dude. Yeah, some say he an asshat, 6 foot stupid, but I can see past that. Dish the harmonica today, you a rap cat. This lesson is free, yeah, homie, you can have that. Alright, James, you so short, you run behind like trains. Don't get mad, man, I'm just playing. You're like Bon Jovi, I don't trust your brain. Grant, I love it and the show I'm on, but I'm sorry that you're from Saskatchewan. You love tractors and drinking on your lawn. So for now I'm done, I'm out, I'm gone.
Oh yeah!
Yeah. I want that guy. That guy's a hero. I want more of him. Who was that?
I still think he is. Still think he's doing his thing. Like I see him every once in a while. Like I'll run into him, and
that guy's got some skills, dude.
Yeah, and you know what? He came down to the show, and he ripped that off the top of his head.
Too good, dude. Yeah,
and he kept going. I just cut out like literally 35 seconds of
find him. I want him to do
rap.
our new intro and extra too. Find him.
Yeah, I should actually send him a note. When I put that out on my socials, I'll maybe he'll reach back out to us. Yeah, I think he's still doing it. He's a very talented kid.
Yeah, he is. Hey, listen, as always, that was brought to you by our friends at Ardent Roof Systems, ArdentRoofSystems.com. If you're looking for a quote, he is the only person in Edmonton you should trust with your home, with your siding, with your eaves, with your soffits, with your fascia, with your roofing. So make sure you go to ArdentRoofSystems.com. If you're looking for a quote, sign up for the golf tournament. Of course, if you're looking to donate, you can do that too. Yes, sir. Before we wrap up, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say we didn't get to a lot of the things that we wanted to talk to today. So
we'll do it on the weekend and Monday and Tuesday. We're every day next week. We're bored. Great to see you. At Lachlan Cross is where you can find him.
Thanks,
the Locker Room YouTube page as well. Yeah, you're very welcome. Great to see you. Have a great weekend, everybody. Really appreciate it. Thanks to our friend Stacey Dissatel, Ardent Roof Systems. Again, go to ArdentRoofSystems.com if you're looking for anything in the Edmonton area. Edmonton, the greater Edmonton area, Alberta, Owens Corning Platinum partner, the MVP of the Owens Corning Platinum team. He's the best in North America because he's trusted. So check him out. Also, thanks to our other partners, including Cantork. Speaking of Edmonton, Colin's out of Edmonton. His podcast was Bangarang yesterday, Talking Torque. You can listen to that. They make rugged, hardworking torque wrenches for heavy industry around the world. They've been doing it for 20 years. All your solutions under one roof. All of his products are on his website right now. Go to cantork.com for more information and check them out today. Also brought to you by Muse Massage Spa. Oh, Emily and Riley have a great podcast called Muse on the Mic. You can get it on their Patreon channel. Go and subscribe to that. That is uncensored. Also, their YouTube channel, Muse on the Mic. Muse Massage Spa, $50 off for Dean Blundell listeners. That's right. All you have to do is DM Emily or Riley or hit them up and send them an email at musemassagespA.com, and there'll be a very discreet little chaperone that'll take you through the entire experience and give you $50 off your first visit. But make sure you go and visit them online, musemassagespA.com today. Also brought to you by Ed's Fine Imports and his Gitch. Buy some Gitch right now. Buy 3, get 1 free. Now, these are engineered for any level of performance. Boxer briefs, pouch in the front, the best underwear in the world, made in Canada for Canadians by Canadians. Very breathable, very soft, and you get a free pair with Gitch 3 if you go to edsfineimports.com now. And, of course, brought to you by our friends at factcheck.io. If you believe, then you probably are using their beta testing software right now. There is impossible to be able to figure out what the truth is online, whether it's social media. We want to put that agency back in your hands when it comes to sussing out what's going on with the information that you're reading. They've combined proprietary technologies so that in real time you can check through the actual ecosystem of every social media outlet, as well as a huge scrape of the internet and AI to give you the best possible score for what you're reading. Put agency and kill information back in your hands. Go to factcheck.io. Check out their beta test today. Factcheck.io. Do you believe? Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate it. Don't forget, you can get everything to at criermedia.com. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.